Hello everyone, so I am back. This is my next video, and we left off at me basically going from Texas, being at the middle school. I had went there for a little while. I was actually doing really good because I was in the environment where people didn't know me, but I wasn't being pressed on them. So a lot of people don't know, because they never talked to me, that even when I was younger, I was very much into subject matter. So, history, art, being creative. I understood a lot of those things, but I acted out in ways that weren't beneficial to me. And, because of the way everything was going, I had to use everything that I could, for instance, my voice, to communicate to everyone. So when I got out there, I was still running with a bad crowd, but at least I started to recognize that, I did not have to keep going down that same path. So what ended up happening really is, at a certain point, then I left for the summer and I went back to my home state. And because I had missed my family, I thought, all right, maybe I'll be there for a short term. Well, I ended up going out there and staying for most of the ninth grade school year, going into high school. And that created some problems for me, because even though I was going back with good intentions, a lot of those same things started occurring again. And now that I'm going into another new school, a lot of the people I don't know from them, because I had gone through already 3 different schools. And that created some frustration. Every time I went to a new school, I was still the outcast. I was still in the same situations. And then, going into ninth grade, I was struggling academically. I was struggling, in my personal life. I thought that I had medical issues that were going on, so I was prescribed Prozac and certain things to help with maybe bipolar or whatnot. And it was all because I was really being influenced in a way, and I had these negative thoughts about myself. So, throughout that time, I'm struggling in class. I'm failing, literally a C to D. I was trying to do football because this is the first time that I'm actually in a school where people will let me participate instead of me having to pay with money that I didn't have, because my parents were too broke and they didn't want anything to be beneficial to them. They always thought that they didn't have enough money to be able to do something, and they didn't encourage me to do anything like that, because that's not what they wanted me to do. So it was always the excuse with money, always the excuse with, we have other things to worry about. Never, okay, is this going to positively impact my child or anything like that? And I'm sure some of you may have had those thoughts, like, why are my parents not supportive as much as me? Or why are people not supportive? But really, then you understand, like, oh, I am supporting what I want to do, while I'm also getting, the faith from God as well, to be able to continue forward, because that was who I had with me, and I didn't know it, but I still had that internal faith, like, okay, hey, they don't support me. Guess what? Now I have the opportunity to go and play sports, to participate. And at that time, I was not confident. I had a lack of confidence. I still didn't even know who I really was. But I went out, and that was the only sport. I played football, and I sucked. And the coach thought nothing of me. Nobody at all. I had a couple of good teammates who, we were in similar situations. We weren't the starters. We were people that were overlooked. We were the ones that, you could be a part of the team, but not be really in the team or be playing in the team. But we were a part of the team, and even though we were doubted, we still followed through. We still participated. We still tried to be better. I'd go heads up with people, just try to build some confidence. I'd have people stiff arm me, throw me to the ground, all types of stuff. And I just felt like, okay, I'm weak, like I need a, something needs to change, right? And academically, though, I was struggling. And so at some point, because my grades weren't good, because I was, not focused on doing the best version of what I can, and also, like, because my grades weren't good, I couldn't participate in sports. You have to raise your grades, right? Also, then I got into a fight with someone in the basketball or on the basketball court during PE. So I got basically suspended for the game, and that was a really embarrassing moment for me because, I worked hard, but I made a mistake, and now I couldn't participate. Now I couldn't be there in case someone needed me, and so what I was able to do was pretty much be the water boy and go out and still be there for my team, but I couldn't play. And that's fine because I made the mistake and I didn't deserve to be able to participate whether I was dressed up in football attire or not. Now, I distinctly remember, at the end of the year, we'd have this participation, ceremony. And I went there and I was wearing a slacker t-shirt, because pretty much that was what I was, a slacker. And I went there, and then, the coach said, basically, here's your participation trophy. This player was raw. Basically, he was saying this player sucked, and he didn't do good. But he was a part of our team. So we want to thank him for being able to be that person who sucked, that we didn't believe in, that was a part of our team. All right? So that was pretty much what they were saying, or at least that's what I interpreted. But I didn't even care because throughout that season, at some point, I made a tackle. I still put my effort forward, right? Even if I was the last person, I still tried to be that person that nobody else was willing to be there for me, except for the person that truly loves me, and that was God, right? Because that was the faith that was in me. It was from God and from Jesus Christ. And most people don't feel that way. Most people don't believe in that way. And it took me a long time to realize that. But that was something I internally already had in me. So after that, then I went into wrestling, right? Because I had a family member who I really don't even want to bring up. So there's a lot of things I may not say, right? Because I don't think that these people even deserve to be even recognized to some extent. But I had a family member who did participate in sports, in wrestling and in football, and she was a female. So she was one of the first people to do that. And that was very motivating because you saw someone who basically was doubted, but they went out and they did perform well. So that was inspiration to me. And I knew that when I had my certain time, when I was able to actually not have to truly pay my way to get into participation, but to be able to freely have the acceptance to also compete at the same level as everyone else, but with the requirements to make sure that things are in order. Because if they're not, if you don't take care of your responsibilities, then you should not, in a way, be able to participate at the same level because you got to do the work. So when I went into transitioned after that, I went into wrestling. And, I literally lost every match. Pretty much every match I lost. But I still went to practice. I still worked hard. I still wanted to be better. And, there was struggle. I got to a certain point throughout that season where, I'm at the end of the season. I pretty much have lost every match. And then we're in the final tournament, And I lose my first match. And then I go to my final match. And what ended up happening is that I ended up fracturing my hand, my finger, my pinky, because I put my hand down and I actually, messed it up. And because of the pain and everything that was going on, I lost the match. I lost. I let myself down because I wanted to win. I felt like I let also my team down. I even told my coaches, hey, something happened to me. I'm injured. Something is wrong. And they didn't believe me at all. And whether it was from the first or from the second, they didn't believe me. When I said I was hurting, they didn't believe me. When I said that my hand was injured, they didn't believe me. Okay? And the same thing happened one time when I did BMX. And this was like right around that same time. I did BMX racing. Right? And I went out and I didn't win. Maybe I got a trophy, 3rd, 6th place, something like that. But I went out to practice at this park. And I was with my sister's boyfriend at the time who, we used to get in fights at the same time, but then we were also chill. So I went out to this park. I go and I hit the step up. And I basically fall. I fracture my collarbone and have like pretty much the bike do like a tabletop and pretty much fall on the ground. So obviously the person I was with, because it's just me and him, I'm practicing and they're there. They gave me a ride to be able to get there or whatever. And, they come up and they say, hey, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm like, obviously not. But I get up and then my arm slumps, right? And I know I can't even lift my arm. I know something is wrong. So then I go back home because I couldn't go to the hospital myself. No one would take me to the hospital. So I went back home and waited for my mother, right? And of course, this is after I've come back from Texas, or from where I was. And I'm sitting there and I'm begging and pleading. Take me to the hospital. I'm injured. Something is wrong. And all they do is sit there and look at me like I'm an idiot. Like I'm not, like I didn't know that my arm was injured. Like I didn't know that I fell on the ground. Right? So, as I'm sitting here pleading my case, please take me to the hospital. Finally, they do. And then I get there. And then the doctor says, hey, you've fractured your collarbone. So the whole time that I knew something was wrong, and nobody was willing to listen to me or worry about my safety at that time. Then it comes out the truth that says, yeah, he was injured. Yeah, it is smart that you took him to the hospital. Okay? So, not only did I have like that collarbone issue, right, which was like before, so we're talking maybe in the middle of the season, right?